So I just remembered another story from a few years back. Like, you all don't believe me that drugs are not allowed in the strip club. Anybody that does drugs in the club gets fired. So let me just tell you this story about this one girl. She was obviously doing drugs in the club, yeah. So we were working there for a while. So she was doing her own drugs there, like discreetly or whatever. So that's fine. Well, that's not fine, but like she wasn't obvious. And then one day she comes into work and she tells me like, oh my God, I think I'm in trouble. Well, no, I'm not in trouble. It's all cool. She's like, oh, last night some customer was asking me for Coke. So I sold him some Coke. I was like, okay, whatever. And she's like, then I took him in the lap dance room. He got the Coke out in the lap dance room and was doing it in the room. And was doing it in the room. And then she was like, oh, a couple of minutes after, the boss comes in with security, like drags him out and he gets kicked out. And he says to her, hey, you can't do that. You can't do that in the room. She says to the girl, the stripper. And she was like, oh, it's not my fault. I can't control what the customers do. And she goes, oh, it's not my fault. I can't control what the customers do. I told him not to do it. And so she was like, oh, I think the boss is cool. Like, no worries, the boss is cool. Because she can't control the customers. The next day, I don't know. So we've been working at this club for a while, and there was quite a few girls that were new. They were new, and also they were like really young, like 18, 19, 20 or whatever. And then she's given all the girls like 3 lines of Coke in the toilet. So I think that's a really bad idea. I think she's just trying to make friends or whatever. Number one, you're giving like everybody Coke, so everybody knows you've got drugs, yeah. Number 2, you're giving it to like new girls that you don't even know, like they'll probably dob you in or something. Number 3, they're like young or whatever. So by the end of the night, like when we were all going home, like all the girls in the club were like, they're all like this. Like normally, like nobody's on drugs there. Like that day, like everyone was like this. So anyway, that was Saturday night. So we're off work for the rest of the week, and then my friend texts me. She's like, oh my God, I got fired from work and I don't know why. Can you go into work and find out why I got fired? And I just said, yeah, I don't know why you got fired either. But in my head, I'm thinking it's all for the drug stuff. I tell everybody, don't do drugs at work. It's a bad idea. Don't take your own drugs. Don't sell drugs. I've told everybody, nobody believes me because yeah, a lot of people have done drugs and do drugs. But honestly, the people that are doing it on a regular basis will definitely get fired. You get away with it a couple of times and you'll get fired. Especially customers come up to me all the time asking me where to get Coke, yeah? A lot of them are undercover cops. You think I'm making this up? They're undercover cops. I've seen many people come and go. Like they're doing drugs for a while and then, that girl's not here anymore. And just because you see one person selling drugs and they're doing it and they're getting away with it, I promise you they are not getting away with it for long. Definitely a few of the other girls have said they've let customers do Coke in the room, but they were like, they would shield it from the camera. Like, I know I'm lap dancing for the customer here, the camera's behind you. She's like, yeah, I let the customer do it in front and I shield them from the camera, but you can probably only do that 1 or 2 times and then you'll get caught. Actually, one of the other girls asked me the other day, like we were doing a double lap dance and the customer was like, hey, can we do Coke off your tits? And then the other stripper said to me, she's like, Michelle, can they do Coke off our tits? Are we allowed to do that? I'm like, no, we definitely can't do that. Are you an idiot? We got cameras right here. Like, yeah, no, if you do it, you definitely get caught, man, especially in front of the cameras. I don't care if you're doing your own personal drugs in the toilet by yourself, but don't tell anybody about it and don't get me involved in it. And the other thing, how I definitely know they're looking on the camera, I've definitely been called out a few times in my lap dances. I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs in the club, but definitely with like the lap dance rules. So, you follow the rules like no touching, no space between you and the customers. But like, I don't know, and no space between you and the customers. And it's quite tricky. Like a lot of the time in the lap dance, you're in a private room one-on-one. So I literally have no idea how the other strippers are doing their lap dances, yeah? So I don't, how close is everybody else dancing? How far away is everybody else dancing? Like, we've all got to follow the same rules, but you just get confused. So, you know, I normally dance like this far away, and then, I don't know, you get carried away, then you start dancing this far away, then you start dancing this far away, and then, like, you know, a few months later, you're dancing this far away, and you're just, like, carrying on like you think you're following the rules, because nobody ever came in and told me to stop. And then, you know, one day my manager comes in, Michelle, I need to talk to you in the office now. And then we go in the office, and then they show a video of me on the camera. They're like, Michelle, this is you on the camera, like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't do that. After they told me about it, you know, reiterate the rules of what we can and can't do, and then, you know, follow the rules from then on. That actually, this situation's actually happened to me, like, in a few different clubs over the years, maybe, well, over the 13 years, maybe this has happened to me like 3 times. The manager came in various different clubs. The manager came in, Michelle, like, what are you doing? Like, you can't do that. And then, so from now on, like, I never bend the rules, because I know they actually do watch you. You think you're not being watched because nobody ever says anything. You just think get caught. They are watching you. They do check every so often. You just think get caught. Oh, and then, yeah, one more thing. Recently at the club where I'm working now, they recently came under new management. So I was lap dancing under the rules of our old management, just doing the old rules. Yeah, so I was just dancing the same rules as the old management, just doing what I normally do. And then one day my manager was like, hey, Michelle, I need to speak to you in the office. And he's like, you can't do this. Like, what? I've been watching you. You've done this a few times now. What are you doing? I thought we were allowed to do that. That was the rules. They're like, no, you can't do that. I was like, that was the old rules. I've been doing this the whole time. And then, you know, went through the rules again. So now, you know, clear on the rules. But yeah, I always lap dance like I assume I'm being watched. And when I say breaking the rules in the lap dance, I'm talking about dancing a little bit too close. If you're dancing too close, then you might get like a warning or a fine. Maybe you get up to 2 warnings, and then you get fired. But something like a blowjob or something, that's like immediate fired, yeah? That's immediate. But yeah, just dancing too close is a warning, depending on who's your boss. But yeah, anything like blowjobs, touching the vagina, touching the dick, that's immediate firing, just to be clear, in everywhere that I've been to.